Okay.
So we are talking about relationships today.
Yes, we are. Strictly relationships.
Yes, past, present, and future. Here. Why don't we just discuss what we think a healthy relationship is in general?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Some points I think are important are communication is key.
Communication is very key.
Yeah.
I think being comfortable.
Yes. Complete comfortableness is
Michelle, I
to
don't
be
think
completely
that's a word.
comfortable.
To be
Completely to share comfortable silence is the most romantic thing I think anyone can do.
Okay. I was reading the other day.
Yeah, about what?
About relationships.
Oh,
and it
wow,
was just
okay.
talking about relationships. It has to be something that you both want. You both have to respect each other, and you have to compromise.
That's true. I agree with that.
Yes. And just be supportive and respect for each other's privacy.
Yes. You know, there are a lot of issues with privacy nowadays, especially because it's like cell phones, you know, email. Well, it was emails back when we were in high school probably, but nowadays it's like, you know,
you got Twitter,
cell phones,
Facebook, Instagram.
all your social media. It's really funny because guys or women who cheat have to sneak around. There are a lot of different avenues that someone could find information out about you.
Okay, now I have a question for you, Michelle.
Yes.
How do you feel because, I don't know if you want to tell the world, but
What?
you are in a current relationship?
Oh, yeah, well, I've been talking about my boyfriend, who I love very much.
Perfect. So then how do you feel when your significant other goes and talks to an ex-girlfriend on Facebook?
It hits a chord with me, but at the same time, it doesn't really bug me because I know that he's mine, and I know my worth as a woman and as a partner to anyone, and I know that he wouldn't risk that for her. Actually, it was really funny. One time, when him and I just started dating, he had a picture of her on his desktop, and I was using his computer just to look at emails and stuff, and I saw this picture, and I thought it was a picture of me, and I opened it.
Was she Asian?
No,
Okay.
that doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But I just thought it was a picture of me that I sent, but obviously it wasn't, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is your ex-girlfriend. So I talked to him about it, and he just told me that at the time they were still kind of talking, not a lot. They were dating for 2.5 years, so, you know, relationship. They still have a relationship. They don't have one anymore, but at the time they did. Mm-hmm. He told me that she had trouble posting it back on the internet or something like that. Obviously, I thought that was shady, but we only just started dating, so I didn't really care.
And I feel like that's a huge situation that women are now dealing with, you know, the Facebook, the Twitter, the private Instagram messages and whatnot. And I think from the man's perspective of things, they're stupid sometimes because to a man talking to an ex on Facebook or whatnot, it doesn't faze them as anything secretive. And I'm not speaking for all men because there are some men out there that are really cheating on you, ladies, and you need to watch out for that. For sure. But a lot of times men, it doesn't faze them like, oh, my ex just wanted to say, hey, what's up? She wanted a picture. She just wanted that. Like, I don't see it as anything because I'm over my ex. Like, I'm with you. That's who I care about.
Yep.
But then that, I feel like, in that very moment is when it can be read as the girl you're with is insecure.
Yes,
or
exactly.
she's secure. And as much as we may think that a lot of times men don't read us and look at us, they talk to other buddies, and other buddies will be like, yo, dude, your girl, she's just insecure, man. Like, she's gonna trip over
She's
that.
crazy.
She's crazy.
Your girlfriend's crazy.
So that's what you have to be very careful when you're treading the waters, and also if you're investigating, because
Is this advice for men or women?
this is advice.
I think it's for everyone.
For everyone, because honestly, I am a great investigator. I do my investigation.
Yeah, so am I. I feel like both of us could have been PIs.
Yes.
Like, if we didn't choose to do this and talk to you people, we could have totally been private investigators.
Oh.
Girl, I can pull anyone up.
On anything.
On anything, just because,
Yes.
like, social media is huge right now, and everyone puts their information out there.
And
but no, I
it's
totally
so
agree with
easy.
you.
A lot of people don't know there's a lot of passwords that the average person puts. It's not something that's complicated. I could easily figure out someone's password and I've done this before. Someone I've dated. I just listen to I listen to what they say. You give it up by saying certain things, and you can just try those passwords, and boom,
Yep.
I've entered into it. But
yeah,
now,
like
it's how you do it that you got to be careful.
exactly.
It's
No,
really.
but I gotta backtrack a little. He was helping her, and obviously I believe him because like I said before, I know my worth. So, ladies, if your guy is doing stuff and the extent of his relationship with that girl was more than just physical, like, they had a real relationship, like a real friendship prior to that, then you don't need to totally worry because there's a reason that they broke up. Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't freak out. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Just to let you know, this is what I said to him. I'm like, just to let you know, it's cool if you keep photos of her or, because you guys obviously had a relationship. That's a part of your previous life before myself. Just, I don't feel comfortable seeing it. And he said, cool. And
just
I said,
be better
fine.
at hiding it?
No, not be better at hiding it. Like I said, like, I have pictures of my ex-boyfriends and whatever, just because, when I was in I have a picture of me and my ex in high school.
Yes.
And when I look back at that, I think about that time in my life with that relationship with that person, like it ended when it ended and it needed to end. And for all the other exes I've ever had, I do keep photos because at the same time, when I'm 60, 80, 90 years old, it's good to look back.
It really is. And I agree with you. I feel like people should keep pictures and memoirs and whatnot. I don't think you should be like, I'm in a new relationship, I'm just going to waste everything now. That's different if you were in an abusive, controlling,
for sure,
degrading relationship. That's a whole different ballgame we're talking about here.
Burn all those photos. You don't need to remember that man, that pathetic man and or woman who hurt you or whatever. You don't need that.
In that sense, yeah. But I feel like it's good with that topic that you were saying with.
Yes, to keep photos. Like I told him, if you want to keep pictures and stuff, that's fine. But I also did tell him I don't feel comfortable with you guys communicating a lot because we just started going out and obviously I feel uncomfortable. You can do what you want because this is your life. For me, I think in a relationship, you should be extremely selfish in the sense that you want what you want and you're going to have it. And you should accept your partner's selfishness because that's what they want. And if it's able to work out, then it works out.
Okay, see, I agree with what you're saying, but then what I'm going to backtrack on is I feel like you should be selfish prior to getting into a relationship. And this is what I mean.
Yes.
You knowing what you want, knowing what you will accept and not accept, knowing your standards. And that's the thing, women, we need to have our standards. Do not just jump into a relationship because honestly, I've done that. I've been in an abusive relationship. I've abused, they've abused. I've been in brutal, bad relationships, and I've been in great, amazing relationships. Mm-hmm. But the ones that were great were because I didn't settle. I knew what I wanted, and I went out there to get what I wanted. But if I didn't know what I wanted, that's me being selfish. Mm-hmm. I would accept anything. So then, like you said, being selfish prior to getting into that, and then knowing that he's going to be selfish because you want a man who has a high standard.
Yes.
Or else he's just taking any piece of crap he can find.
He's settling. You never want to settle.
And you never want to settle, and you never want the person you're with
to settle.
Because if you hear that, then sometimes that's how a relationship can go off.
Yes.
If a woman says you are at my standard, but the man says you're not at my standard, it doesn't really work too well at all.
I totally agree with you. But I stick to my whole being selfish thing. I mean, because people change. Sia's changed since she's been in LA. I'm sure I've changed since she saw me before she went to LA. Yeah. Like, we're different people and stuff. But, her and I are both extremely selfish with each other.
Yeah.
But it seems to work out because we both love each other so much.
But that's friendship.
But I'm also saying in a relationship too, right? Like, if I am with someone and say we have a really comfortable relationship, like Netflix and chill all the time, but then I want to go out and do something for myself personally or for both of us, and he doesn't want to get off the couch, then obviously that's going to start something. And, it doesn't make me think like, oh, I'm going to break up with him, but it's just, it brings me to have a conversation with him to talk about what we've been doing. And, it's totally cool to just chill on the couch and just eat and drink, while you're watching Netflix.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you want to go out and do things like dates.
Yes.
The only reason I think that my boyfriend and I, that we are still dating is because I've talked to him about what I want, and I've told him, hey, we need a date night or whatever. I think it'd be good for us because, we both work, we get tired, we want to just watch Netflix and chill, but...
Yeah. And, okay, that's another thing. I feel like for all women and men out there, the best thing you can invest in is a friendship.
Yes.
Before you ever get into a serious or even just a relationship that you're not sure of, invest in that friendship. Because at the end of the day, when you get to that muddy, sticky decision making and you start saying things that you never realized about each other, is because you fast forward that. And that's, I think, with our society, everyone is rushing. Everyone is rushing to be in a relationship. Everyone is rushing to meet that love of their life. Or women are like, I'm in my late 30s. I need to have a child now. I need a relationship now. No.
Late 30s, late 20s, girl. I've talked to some girls who, like, right after they turn 25, they're just like, oh, I have 5 years before my eggs like get to halfway, and, like the halfway mark.
And it's just like, you have to create that friendship, because if you don't create that friendship, when that love comes, you skip steps. You cannot skip a step and expect to move forward. You really have to take it day by day. And the great thing with the date nights, I know for sure that's what happens when people get so comfortable with each other that they forget how to romance.
And it turns into a routine.
That's the thing. Men and women, we're humans, we love routine, but especially men. The minute you give a man a signal that it's okay for us to be laying down on this couch, do you expect that man is going to get up one day and say, let me put on a suit and take my girl out on a date? If it's not a birthday, an anniversary, which, by the way, they do forget.
Yes.
They do forget. And women, there are some of us out there who forget our anniversaries and whatnot. But it's just like, you have to set that where it's like once a week or twice a week we have date nights, something that we can, like, when I had this one relationship once where we would go out and it'd be cute because we'd pretend like we didn't know each other. So he'd go to the bar first and then I'd come to the bar. Yes, it was so cute.
That's so fun, Sadik. I've never done that. I've never even thought about that.
Oh, so we had this thing because we were comfortable with each other, and at the beginning of the relationship, we had talked about how we didn't like to be bored, because I like the Netflix, the laying down on the couch and be cutesy, but I get bored quickly.
Girl,
and if you cannot entertain me or I can't entertain you and we can't push each other to another level, I'm all about pushing my partner to the next level.
She does it with me.
Yes, I do that with Michelle too. Honestly, my friendships are sometimes like relationships.
I think everything's a relationship. But
at the end,
yeah,
we would go on date night. So I'd come into the bar, I'd act like I didn't know him, and we would just do an improv, and we'd, talk to each other. And then we obviously were staying at the hotel, but he'd be like, do you want to come upstairs? I'm in this room. And I'd be like, okay.
Oh,
and,
girl.
And we'd go to the room and, have some fun. And it was just, we just live out fantasies that were safe, that we would go to and just play around with, like go to a party, but enter not knowing each other. And just one time we went to this party and he was introducing me to his friends for the first time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we entered the party, he didn't want his friends to know that I was the girl, so I went to the other door and he went through the front. And then at the end of the night, the whole night, we were acting like we didn't know each other, but we were eyeing each other. And I would talk to people there. So I basically just went to that party knowing one of his friends, who was the only one who knew about us but kept it a secret, right?
Yeah.
So just eye him out, and I talked to people about him. But his friends were so good. They're like, oh, he's taken. He has some girl, but we've never met her before. And I was like, see, that's how I know he has good friends. That is a real good stuff. And at the end of the night, he just said, yeah, this is my girl, and we kissed. And people were like, wait, what? Wait, weren't you the girl just walked out? I said, yeah.
That's crazy.
You should try that.
Yeah, for sure. I will totally run that by him. For us, though, date nights are better in the summertime because we just go up into the bush or forest, find a lake, and just hang out by the lake and just spend time together. And then we come back to town and then go for a really nice dinner and then go home and just chill out after. That's what our typical date nights are.
Aww.
Or date days. Yeah, shooting some guns, 4x4, and coming back to town and but it's the best compromise, I guess, for a person who's from the island or someone who's really into wilderness.
Yes.
And then someone from the city, we go out for a really nice meal after.
Yes.
And then we go home and Yeah, just relax.
I'm gonna do that. Oh,
That's what
so
works
cute.
for me. But yeah.
Oh.
But I totally want to try what you just said.
You should definitely try that.
Ladies, try that. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's done that, so do it.
Ladies, honestly, and gentlemen too. I mean, I will speak for men because I find myself having more men friends than girlfriends, to be honest with you, at the end of the day. And men, just try being adventurous. Tell your lady what your fantasy is. Tell her, and don't be scared, because you never know. Sometimes you think, oh, my girl will never be down for this, but there's part of every human being that's a little kinky. I'm just saying. I mean, just it's true, because we know, ladies, we like to hide that. It's so funny because society tells us to be sexy. Sex is thrown in our face, but then the minute someone wants to try something fun and kinky, society says hide that.
Yeah,
so
that's really interesting.
That's so interesting. If we let's
great topic on
let's
that.
do a little. How do you feel about that
Yeah,
when you see symbols of sex everywhere, but then the minute you're like, I want to try a little butt sex, which by the way I have a story for you. But
oh my goodness!
But society says hide that behind your doors.
I don't know. Western society. Honestly, Western society. Period. A gym ad. It's a man and a woman on each other versus like the guy who's like, okay, let's get a fat guy in here lifting weights, and then like a fit guy saying, this could be your transformation. Yeah, companies go for the like really fit girl and the fit guy like lifting weights over each other, all sweaty, like, you know, like that.
And I always thought of that. If I saw a real infomercial where the people were working out was like a fat person and then it showed their transition,
like Zumba,
hell yeah, I do that.
Yeah,
but every
like
time I see some sexy girl like, come on girls, do 10 more, and I'm like, bitch, I'm only at 2 and I'm huffing and puffing like I can't, and I'm not fat at all.
No. It's her ass bringing her down. That's what that is.
I'm actually losing my ass weight right now.
Oh, that's not very good.
My boyfriend is so sad. Oh, yes. So I'm recently
in
a relationship.
Yes, she recently got into a relationship, and it's very sweet.
It's a guy I've known ever since I was 16 years old.
Oh. Yeah. But mind you, they weren't dating since she was 16. I said recently.
Yeah, recently I was like, what, after Thanksgiving, I decided to get together. I'm still in the honeymoon state phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to take like a break for a minute because she needs to stop thinking about him.
I'm blushing, but you can't tell because I'm black. But no, back to.
I'm very happy for her, though. She's it's very sweet.
I am. I'm happy, and I'm really happy because we had a friendship for a very long time, and even though we haven't spoken in the past 4 years, getting to know him again is very fun. But he's still the same person I knew when I was young. And he sees the changes in me. So it's great to be with someone who's seen that growth within me from when I was young to about now. But yeah.
If you could see both of our faces right now.
Anyway. It means a lot because like coming out of oh God, we've all been through bad relationships.
Oh girl, yeah. Coming out of that.
Let's get real.
All right.
Let's get real.
You want to get really
here.
real here now.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first boyfriend and I had a very intense relationship, both really madly in love with each other. And then an incident happened and it made me fall out of that relationship. But then again, prior to me falling out in that incident, we had a kind of toxic relationship. Like we'd fight, but we'd love each other. We were our first everything. And so it was so hard to let go. And then that incident happened. I let go. And he didn't respond very well. Like, he would wait outside my house until 3 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be calling my house and stuff. This is back when, you had house phones, and so men would have to be like, hello, Mr. Maniloto, is Michelle home? May I please speak to Michelle?
Yes.
And then,
and then be like, who is this?
Yeah, or you're running to the phone, and you're like, it's mine! So way back then, we had a toxic relationship, broke up with him. He couldn't accept it. For like a month, he would stalk me at school, stalk me like at my home and all this other stuff. Unfortunately, he even tried to he sliced his wrist in front of me once. And it was really kind of traumatizing, and it made me stay with him.
Shit.
Yeah. And I talked to like 2 of my best friends at the time, and they were just like, you know what? If he chooses to do that to himself, it's not you, it's him. Like, you have no control over that.
It's totally him.
Yep. So after that, I just stopped talking to him. He moved on, and then him and his girlfriend at the time made fake accounts about me. Like, just saying slanderous stuff, like, on Facebook and stuff. And I was dating someone else at the time, and adding my boyfriend at the time and his friends, just saying all this bullshit about me.
The fact that they had time to do that.
And as a couple did that?
As a couple, that's a bit weird.
That's fucking weird.
The girl was clearly insecure in herself to be able to... Because if my man, I don't care what age I was at, was like, do you want to help me create this account for my ex? I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Why are you caught up in it? But anyway, oh God, you're going to love this. So basically, they started contacting my family members via Facebook and social media. My little sisters, my aunts, my like cousins. So it came to a point where I kept on asking them, I'm like, whoever this is, I really don't care. Just stop it and stop harassing my family. And they wouldn't stop. And they're like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So I went to the police and brought them my case and stuff. And then they went to arrest the person doing it. Yeah, the cops went and arrested his girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
And she admitted to all of it. And so he calls me crying that night. He's like, come on, Michelle. Like, it was just a joke. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, screw you. That's what you get. And then I think she was 18 at the time. So they were like, here, she'll get a record for harassment and whatnot. Or you can take this to trial. She'll also do 500 hours of community service and blah, 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 blah. At the time, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
It was just to show them that
you can't fuck around with someone's life.
You can't fuck around with someone's life. It doesn't matter if you're in high school or if you're an adult. Like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What did you think? Well, you obviously didn't think I was gonna call the cops, but
because they thought
surprise
you were gonna do nothing at all. That's so sad.
That was one of the... I think that was the worst relationship I've ever been with. And he also called a couple years ago because his girlfriend his girlfriend that went through all that trouble with him broke up with him after a couple of years. And he called me and he's like, I just wanted to know why, like, you did it. It was like the same, like, I did everything for her and blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I straight up said, like, you know, the reason I broke up with you was because I didn't love you anymore. And then he just shut up. And I was like, if you ever contact me again or my family, I will call the police.
Yeah. No, you got to tell him the real. It's crazy. I mean, oh, God. Like, with us getting real here and just being vulnerable, I've been in multiple bad relationships. Like, I personally, I don't know what the hell I was doing when I was younger, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been in abusive relationships. I've been hit before.
Wow. My past relationship, that one I was talking about too, when we'd fight, he'd like push me.
It'd be like aggressive because I am 4'11.5", so technically 5 foot, but I don't take shit. Like, if you come at me, I will mouth myself off to you if you try and attack me in any form, and you hit me, I will hit you back. And that I know that causes aggression more, but I've been in relationships where not just physical ones. And when I was younger, this is what I like to tell all young girls out there. If you are in any relationship where a man lays his hands on you, no matter how much you think he loves you, he doesn't love you. You know why? Because no one can love you if they don't love themselves. And if you don't love yourself, you will not treat that person that way.
Exactly.
So just get out.
Yep.
And it's easier said than done, and I know that. And honestly, if you have any relationship you'd like to talk to us about or anything like that, I mean, we can definitely reply back. Just write us at wordsofwisdomwednesdays@gmail.com. Yep. Or, sorry, let me say that again.
You said it, Words of Wisdom Wednesdays, plural, at gmail.com.
Yeah. You can email, and obviously it'll be confidential. We won't say anything. A lot of this relationship was when I was really young and I was really naive. And
super passionate back then when it's one of your first relationships, love relationships. Yeah.
I mean, the first relationship I had where he cheated on me really big is I was like 18 and I was dating this guy who was much more older than me. And he actually had a girlfriend.
And he didn't tell
you. He had
a
girlfriend that lived with him. The great thing for him was that the girl worked in and out of town. So anyways, when I found out about the girlfriend, because him and I had decided to be together and amongst other personal things that I won't discuss here, when I found out he had a girlfriend, I went to his house, and it was a whole weekend of me and him and the girl talking things out, trying to figure things out. And the girl was like, I can't believe this. Like, she was like, I'm leaving you.
Oh my God.
But
did she take him back?
Of course. The reason why she took him back was because he took care of her. He sheltered her. She came from an abusive family. She didn't get along with her father, and he took care of her. So he was like her guardian. So as much as she was trying to be like, yes. And then that's when, as a young 18, 19-year-old, I realized that I never want to be a woman that's like that. No. I never want to be that woman that depends on another man. I have a great relationship with my father. If anything, it's my mother that I don't have a relationship with, to be honest with you. We have a rocky relationship, but we've worked on it, and I love my mother to death. But I have a great relationship with my father. So why was I falling for all these men that didn't have self-love? And I think it was just I was trying to help people find that self-love when at the same time I didn't love myself. And that's what it was. And it was just this girl stayed, and the whole time she turned it around like, you are ruining us, leave us. So I backed out. I was like, okay, you know what? Do your thing.
Yeah, peace out. Like, because you don't want a man who's going to lie about having a girlfriend, or even like having a girlfriend and even pursuing you. Like, it just
and I mean, to the very extreme. Like, there are things I'm not saying right now that if I said it would be like, what? Like, we wanted to take it there with him and I. And then there was the opposite, where I was in this relationship where we both loved each other. Oh God, till this day, a part of me still loves this kid, and obviously I won't say his name, but it was in the sense where we weren't, the amount of love we had for each other, we weren't mature enough to be able to maintain that love. And I'm not going to lie, we got into arguments, and I did throw the first punch, and I did throw the first hit. And that's another thing, because I know there are men out there, and we tend to forget about the men that are getting abused by women.
Yes.
It's a small percentage, but it's happening.
Even if it's not physical, there's still verbal abuse.
Emotional abuse is the worst.
Yep.
It was like, I know they say sticks and stone may break my bones, but no, that's wrong.
It breaks your mind and it breaks your heart.
Yes, the words, and that's I mean, I did that, and it was wrong for me. And to this day, I've forgiven myself, and I've asked for forgiveness to this person. They have forgiven me, but to this day, it's like, wow.
You know, it's all, honestly, relationships are all a learning process. Like, whether it be friendships, work relationships, or an intimate relationship you have with someone, learn from it. And if that person ends up leaving your life, you know what? Hopefully they were there long enough to teach you whatever it was the universe wanted them to teach you, and you take it and you move on from that. And you find a relationship where you're actually happy to be yourself, happy to have, you know, great compromises. Like, the compromises my boyfriend and I make with each other, they're great, because they're compromises that I'll throw out there or he'll throw out there, but we both think it's best for each of us individually.
Yes. Yeah. No, I hear you. And I mean, that's very true. And I completely agree with that. And like I said, I feel men and women, we have to give ourselves time before you get into another relationship.
True that.
And that's a mistake I made for a very long time in my life. I went from relationship to relationship to relationship. Growing older, I realized this is not what I want. And if I got into it, I was like, don't want this, getting out. Have fun being yourself and getting to know who you are and being comfortable in your skin, because then when you have someone that compliments that, it's like a sexy man in a sexy suit or a sexy woman in a sexy dress. Everything complements each other and everything works out well. You're not going to go out with your hair half done, a sexy dress, and ugly ass shoes. So why be in a relationship where it's like, that's what I compare it to?
Or you could be in a relationship and both be wearing sweats and just a big t-shirt because you both love each other, to just not give a fuck what you look like.
Yes, but you're comfortable.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it has to do with loving each other, self-respect.
I agree with that.
And I feel like with society nowadays, there's not a lot of that being discussed. It's just like sex is being thrown out there so much that these young teenagers, they're seeing that, oh, I'm watching the Kardashian and it's okay that Khloe was barely, not even divorced with her ex, but she has another couple of men she's fucking and dating and all that stuff. So it's okay for me to be with a man and cheat on him and do. No, it's not okay. What happened to you stick it through with that person that you love and that you're with? And what happens to waiting until divorce is finalized for you to actually move on?
The reason that people don't stick with their partners is because there's so much choice out there. You know, you have online dating, you meet people who travel all over the world thanks to the internet. You know, you're just like, I know I can have something else. The moment it gets bad or rough with the person that you're currently with, you're like, well, okay, this was fun. Nice to see you. Bye. My parents are from the Philippines, so, well, my mom had a boyfriend prior to my dad, and he cheated on my mom, so she was like, meh. And then my dad pursued my mom for the longest time, and he actually asked her to marry him 3 times before she said yes. And then she came to Canada pregnant with me, which I said before, but they stuck it together. I didn't meet my dad till I was 4, but they're still in love, still very happy together. But that's the difference.
Your parents were in love when that happened. I mean, okay, so this is the
fine
reason.
But the reason why they stuck together was because there was no one else in the world for them. It was just each other. That's my point. I'm saying that because we have all these other means to find people, and we don't find people because we want to meet people. We usually, well, that's not true, but we usually find people because we want to fuck other people.
Yes. That is true. But what I'm saying with that, because I know earlier I said I meet men, I date them, and then I let go of them. I get bored easily in that sense. But what I'm saying is that when you find someone that you truly love, I'm talking about the love stage, don't just walk away that easily if you haven't tried every options. Now, it's different if I've been dating for this person for like a month to 2 to 3 months. That's different. You're not going to love someone unless this is your true love to find, which, by the way, that's hard to find something like that nowadays. I understand in your parents' time, and also it all depends on the country you come from.
Exactly.
If you come from some country that's really tiny and all you have is each other, okay, you can love each other in the...
More people get divorced than married. Or faster.
Oh, yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah, no, there's statistics that show that in North America, there's the highest divorce rate is happening, and...
What?
I was just going to make a connection to real estate. That's why real estate people are making more money, because families are now finding 2 houses.
Oh my gosh. That's the truth, though.
It is the truth. And I mean, when you're single, have fun. God, I had fun when I was single. Like,
girl, honey, please. I had fun. You know how much fun I had when I was single.
Yes. And it's not like people try to make it depressing and sad. Listen, that is what a head man is for. Okay? The man that just comes to your house and gives you head and you don't have to do anything. Well, that is what...
I obviously missed out.
You missed out on that time. But that is okay. What a friend, a guy that's gay, that's your friend, can come and watch Netflix with you while you eat popcorn and eat chocolate. You have so many options nowadays when you're single.
Oh my God.
Just lay there. That's my little rant.
Oh my goodness.
You can keep that rant.
Yeah, you can keep that going, but wow, I'm actually kind of speechless.
You're like, I had fun. You did.
I did have God, man, I had so much fun when I was single. But you know what? We can talk about that another time. But I just want to say something. You know how you're talking about women and you're asking women to love themselves and to, you know, kind of not rush. That's what pees my pussy, is when women jump into a relationship and they don't really think about it. They just want that comfort, or they want to be nurturing, you know. Stand back, take a look at what is in front of you. Yes. Take a look at the potential this relationship can take you. And if you don't want something that's super serious, then fine. If that's what you want, then that's what you want. But just follow what you actually need. If you need time on your own to figure that stuff out, then don't rush into a relationship.
And also, write out the pros and cons.
Yep.
You write out the pros and cons. If you have to, write the pros and cons of that person and see how they fit in your life. And at the end of the day, I know this is probably contradicting to what I've said, but don't take it too seriously, because that can fuck it up really quickly.
Honestly, the best relationships are the ones you don't think about going into, but just happen naturally.
Yeah.
Platonically, just on its own. Boom.
And it just happens.
But, see, I want to ask you a question. When you were a young girl, like a young girl in high school, what kind of man did you think you were going to marry or just date? Like, I'm pretty sure I thought about that when I was like a little girl. I thought I'd be married with, I thought I'd be pregnant right now. Like,
when I was a young girl, like very young, I was a tomboy. So for me, this is my man. You got to remember, the reason why this was my man is because I grew up with all white people. I was the only brown-skinned child at a school of all Dutch people.
Wow.
So, yeah, from grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That was just me. So those were my friends. So I thought that by the age of 30, I was thinking late 20s because I had so much to do. I was going to be a track star. I was going to do all this famous stuff. I would be married to a blonde hair, blue-eyed, 6'3", because I also played basketball. 6'3", masculine businessman by day. But then, no, sorry, take that back. It was a 6'3" masculine man who was an athlete, but also a businessman at the same time. And we would have these little mulatto children, and I would be just this beautiful mom, and I would bring in income. He'd bring in income, and we'd travel the world and have a beautiful, amazing life. And it was just like we would just push each other and motivate each other, and just success was a glore. And that was my dream. So I'm 25 now.
Did you notice the way she was saying that, though? The tonality in her voice. So, like, we'd have these beautiful mulatto children. I'd be successful, and he'd be successful, and we'd bring in all this income to raise our beautiful mulatto children. And then he'd teach them how to play basketball. Man.
What about you?
Oh, God. Okay, honestly, it's not that... Well, I guess it's kind of... Okay. So, when I was young, my goal in life, and I said this when I was young, my goal in life was to genetically invest in my future and to be a MILF. As vain as that sounds, I meant that when I said genetically invest in my future, of course everyone wants beautiful babies, but all babies are beautiful. But it was more like I was actually kind of concerned because my family has heart disease and diabetes. So I was actually, when I say genetically, I don't mean just physically. I also mean like you're like, I want a healthy family. Yeah. So when I was younger, I thought I was gonna, and I wanted to be successful. I knew I would be doing something in the arts because that's something that my heart's always been drawn to. So I thought I'd be like a counselor or psychologist, but there are art counselors and psychologists who use art to help people through whatever. I thought I was going to do that. My husband would be, he'd be an Asian man. Doesn't matter what kind of Asian it was, he'd be Asian, but he'd be tall. Or a halfer.
Yes.
Yeah, half black, half Asian, half white, half Asian. I don't know. I wanted myself a mixed man who was really handsome and who could dance and play guitar. And who would just take me out all the time. Like, I just wanted a really successful man, and like I said, my goal still is to be a successful MILF.
You go, girl. Yes, that's my goal, still be successful.
Yeah, I wanted 3 kids, no more than 4. I don't care. It has to be a boy and or girl. Like, I don't care how many of each, but I need like one of each just because whatever. You know, everyone kind of wants that. The difference. But it's really funny. I never suspected myself to be dating an island boy who is basically a kind of redneck.
But it's so funny. I was just going to say this
perfectly.
Your guy is white with the whole hair and everything that I was talking about. And then my guy is a halfer, like how you're saying.
Oh my God.
He's half. Yes, he's half white, half black. Yeah. I was like, what? But then now I want the Angelina Jolie. I want to adopt. I don't want to have any children of my own because I've seen a friend of mine go through that, and I don't want to have. That scares me.
I
so
still
much.
Want kids.
Now I will adopt, and then I'll still be very successful with my husband and I, and have that.
To Aziz Ansari, he did this whole sketch about people, internet, and their babies and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, 2 people, and now we're gonna get together and make a baby. Oh my God, it's a little person who looks like both of us mixed together. Oh, post this on Insta. Oh, post this wherever. Yeah, no, oh gosh, you have to watch Aziz Ansari's specials. They're hilarious. But
yeah.
Well, I feel like That was good, but
That
you know
was
what?
good.
Life isn't what you ever expect it to be. Relationships will never be what you expect it to be, but just go into it positively and go into it knowing that that's what you want.
Yes.
And it's good for you.
And take your time. It's okay. At the end of the day, I know this sounds morbid. The worst that can happen is you die, but hey, make sure you live a happy life that only you can be happy about. So just remember that. But thank you so much for listening to us. We are Words of Wisdom Wednesdays.
Yes, I am Michelle.
And I am Sia. And you can find us online at Wow Wednesdays with a 0.
Yes, so wow with a 0. On Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, and you can hear us on SoundCloud, YouTube, and Libsyn
under Words of Wisdom Wednesdays.
Please subscribe to our YouTube, and if you have any questions or want us to do a segment or you want to be on our show, please email us at wordsofwisdomwednesdays@gmail.com.
And we will get back to you, though we might not agree with whatever content you want us to talk about.
Michelle!
I'm just teasing, but unless it's really bad, or if it's really bad, then maybe we will. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
The way this show's going, who knows?
Who knows? But have yourself a lovely week.